Leaders from South Korea, China and Japan have called for a boost in the three-way cooperation between the East Asian neighbours as they held their first trilateral summit in 4 years. The leaders expressed hope that the meeting could help revitalise diplomacy between the countries. Chinese Premier Li Qiang said the summit represented a, quote, new beginning and urged Japan and South Korea to promote multilateralism and fight trade barriers. For more on this, let's bring in journalist Frank Smith in Seoul. Frank, trilateral summits between these nations are quite rare. Why is this meeting important?
Well, they originally planned to have these trilateral summits beginning back in 2008. As you mentioned earlier, they haven't had one since about 2019, just prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. East Asia is a site of intense G2 competition between the U.S. and China. South Korea and Japan are allies of the United States, really on the forefront of that G2 competition. 25% of the globe's GDP is in these three nations, and they're critical in terms of the supply chains that really modern life around the world depends upon. So this region is critical. Again, as I mentioned, these allies, South Korea and Japan, allies of the United States, that came to the fore just in the past few days with China's large-scale military exercises surrounding the island of Taiwan. Increasingly, South Korea and Japan are being called upon to step forward and represent that alliance in terms of its relations with China. Gerhard?
So what was on the agenda then for this summit?
Well, interestingly, South Korea announced the agenda items, and they included things like climate change and sustainable development, economy, trade, personnel exchanges. Also significantly, though, in a bilateral between South Korea and China, they agreed to start a security dialogue. Now, just in the past 24 hours, North Korea announced that it would conduct a satellite launch. It intends to launch a spy satellite sometime between today and June 4th. It gave that information to Japan. And also, this statement coming out of this summit includes the term denuclearization of North Korea. That could indicate that China is going to perhaps pressure North Korea a little bit more in terms of denuclearization, as we see some tension rise on the Korean Peninsula, with South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol ordering the scramble of Air Force jets to send North Korea a message today. Gerhard?
The journalist Frank Smith there in Seoul. Thank you very much, Frank.